Welcome to Red Flags with Elissa.
Welcome back to Red Flags with Elissa. I'm your host, Evan Mack, and I'm thrilled to have you join me on this journey through the intricate world of medical spa law. As a managing attorney with years of experience in this unique field, Elissa is here to shed light on the nuances and critical legal considerations that come with operating a medical spa. Today, we're talking about the critical legal role of medical directors in med spas. What's required, what's risky, and how to protect everyone involved. Ms. Elissa, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. This episode is Medical Directors and Med Spa, legal must-knows for owners and providers. So let's get down to brass tacks, my dear Elissa. Let's start with the basics. What's the legal role of a medical director in a med spa, and why is this role so critical in your opinion?
So a medical director in the state of Texas needs to be a medical doctor. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the medical director is doing the medical admin for that clinic. So what that means is that they're reviewing the charts, they're reviewing protocols, so in their agreement, and that agreement would be with Med Spa, and again, we're going to have Dr. Skittles. Dr. Skittles is going to be your medical director. Okay. And in that agreement, we are going to outline all the things that Dr. Skittles is going to be in charge of as a medical director. I tell my clients this all the time. For every hat that a physician wears, you need a contract.
Okay.
That is like the easiest way that I know to explain it. So if Dr. Skittles is doing something other than medical admin, which Dr. Skittles might be doing, right? That's a separate contract, okay? Wow. The one thing that is super, 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 super important, did I say it was super important?
Yeah.
That a medical director is going to be paid at a flat fee, okay? That flat fee has to be within the fair market value of what the duties that physician is going to be doing, okay? So for example, your medical director, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, right? This is my advice. Medical directorships for medical spas should be anywhere from 500 to maybe 1,000. If you want to go a little bit more than that, there might be some wiggle room, but we are really going to delineate what this physician is doing, okay? Long gone are the days that you can just say someone is a medical director and have a really ambiguous and vague description of what that means, and I'm paying you $10,000 a month. If you come to me with that, I will tell you no. I'm that attorney that's telling you no. I'm telling you no to keep you out of the orange jumpsuit.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So that's one of those parameters. The medical directorship, you're overseeing the medical admin. We're going to delineate everything that you're doing, and it is going to be at a fair market or a reasonable value, flat fee for those services.
So what kind of qualifications or even licenses must someone have to serve as that medical director in a spa, especially if we're talking about Texas?
Right. So in order to do that, you need to be a medical doctor. You cannot be a dentist.
Oh.
You cannot be, you might be able to be a chiropractor. You can be an MD or a DO, but
What about a doctor nurse? What about a doctor nurse?
No.
Wow.
No. So I'm going to go back to my pyramid. And I think I've explained this before. The medical doctor is at the top of the pyramid. Okay. So even if you are a PhD RN, so you're a doctor of nursing, right? Even if you're a PhD in pharmacy, so you're a doctor of pharmacy, you are still not a medical doctor. Only a medical doctor can diagnose, well, not only, let me back up a second, but a medical doctor diagnoses and does a treatment and prescribes, right? So they're at the very, very top of that pyramid. Underneath that, you can have your nurse practitioners and your PAs. Those are mid-levels, okay? They have extra training in order to diagnose, in order to treat, in order to write prescriptions. But guess what? They are still supervised, or they still have to collaborate with a medical doctor. Okay. So they're a little lower on that pyramid, but they still have to report up. Even if your pharmacist is a PhD. So let's say you're going to one of the commercial pharmacies, right? And you have a PhD pharmacist there. They can say, hey, doctor, did you know that this drug or this combination or this compound might be better suited for what you're trying to do, right? Whether it's a cold or whatever the ailment is, the doctor can say, thank you so much, pharmacy. I totally forgot about that. I agree. I am now going to amend my order for you to fill it. Okay. But if the doctor was like, you know what, I'm the doctor and I think I know what I'm talking about, right? Pharmacy has to back down, even if that pharmacy is a PhD.
Wow.
The only time you get the doctors arguing, they're all going to be MDs, essentially. Are there exceptions to this rule? Of course. But generally, they're all going to be MDs, because if the heart doctor is going to say, I disagree, and the neuro doctor is like, we got to do this first, right? They're all colleagues, and they can argue amongst themselves. And everybody else got to sit back and be like, well, once we know what they want to do, then we can start acting. Even if the nurse, the PA, the NP, the pharmacist, the PT knows, right? You still got to sit back and wait, because you got to follow the doctor's order.
So what are the potential liabilities, though, for a medical doctor if things go wrong at the med spa? Can they be held personally responsible?
So typically, and this is something else that I tell my clients, you cannot prevent somebody from suing you, right? Any lawyer, in my opinion, that says you are going to be 100% safe is lying to you. I cannot guarantee that, because people are stupid and crazy. They will sue you because they didn't like, again, they don't like my dress, so they're going to sue me, right? People can sue you for anything. But what we can do is try to protect your liability as much as possible. And that's why it's necessary to have an LLC, a limited liability corporation or company, or a professional corporation. And that's going to limit your liability professionally wise, right? Now, that's why we have malpractice insurance. That's why we have these other types of insurance and other types of corporate structures to protect you. But if you go and do something really foolish with complete disregard for human life, then yeah, the state or that individual is going to be able to personally come and get you. Okay. But again, that is the exception to the exception to the exception to the exception. You really got to be out there trying to do harm to people, and then then we're going to be able to, what's called, piercing that corporate veil and come after you personally. But again, exception to the exception. Those are those rabbit holes that people love going down, and I'll go down with you for some of those rabbit holes. But generally, the average prudent physician is not doing that.
So can you break down what a well-structured medical director agreement should include to do all those protections, and for both the med spa and even the director?
Oh, I love that question. Love that question, because I am a contract nerd. So let's get into it. It would need to be between the medical spa and that physician. Now, what trips up some doctors that I work with is if you are part of the medical spa, okay? So in the state of Texas, Dr. Skittles is 51% owner. And then we got Elissa, and I'm not a nurse, I'm just the daughter of one, I'm just a lawyer. I can own that other 49%. That's delineated in our operating agreement. So what's going to trip up people is that it's like, but I'm contracting with myself.
Mm.
Yes, you are. Okay. So if Dr. Skittles owns ABC Med Spa, is
Right.
51% owner, then ABC Med Spa is going to contract with Dr. Skittles for a medical directorship for this clinic. And that is going to also further delineate that we're doing, that Dr. Skittles is doing the medical admin, overseeing charts, overseeing protocol, making sure that administratively, from a medical or a clinical perspective, that I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Typically, what I tell my physicians that are like, they're still having a hard time getting it, I'm like, put another doctor in there, right? It doesn't matter, right? If Dr. Skittles is 51% owner, then Dr. Snickers, you can hire Dr. Snickers to be the medical director. It doesn't matter. It can be Dr. Smith, Dr. Jones, Dr. whomever, but they need to be a medical doctor.
Okay.
And so a lot of physicians are very familiar with medical directorships because they might do that if they work in a hospital. They might be a medical director there, or they have a friend or whomever. So a lot of physicians are really familiar with what's involved and the amount of hours that are going to be needed for a medical directorship. Another thing that I tell doctors, this is your side hustle. This is not, this is your spending money. This is your vacation spending money. This is your Mary Kay, right? This is your Avon. This is your side hustle. Do not think that you can, unless you got 10 medical directorships, and good luck to you with that, right? But if you have multiple, you can be multiple medical directors for multiple places, okay? Because you can do that, and you're only getting maybe $500 to $1,000 at each pop, but you are going to have to be able to account for your time and account for what you're doing, every hat that you wear for every single one of those medical directorships. So is it possible to be the medical director of 20 clinics?
Wow.
Yeah, it's possible, but I wouldn't advise it, but it's
Yeah.
possible.
Wow.
It is your side hustle. That's the easiest way to think of it. It is your side hustle. It is not your main gig.
So from the owner's perspective, what legal protections should they build into their agreement with that medical director to ensure compliance and to avoid conflict like we talked about in this episode and previous episodes?
I would say that there needs to be a list of the duties. There is also going to be, that physician is going to have to carry malpractice insurance. The clinic is also going to have insurance, right? Premises liability, and any other, I don't do insurance, but any other type of insurance that's advised for that type of business. And really, the physician is carrying the brunt of the burden here. They're the ones that are poised to lose the most. And so from that perspective, I don't have any qualms or reason to think that that they shouldn't have, the most protections, right? But keep in mind that it is an agreement between the medical spa and the physician. Okay. So really, it's the medical spa that is going to be shifting a lot of that liability towards the physician. So the physician has to be very cognizant. It cannot just be something that you just rubber stamping your name on something that
Right.
everything is good. Because if you did rubber stamp your name and something came up, the physician is taking the fall.
So that's what I mean. Like, how do you differentiate between that figurehead medical director that's just there in name and just, they're there to put their name on there, and or as opposed to the ones that's actually involved? Like, what legal risk can come with either or?
Like I said before, every hat that physician wears is a
Mhm,
different contract.
mhm.
So the medical directorship is just the medical admin. If we are going to now have that same physician do good faith exams,
Yeah.
that's a different agreement. Okay. So every single thing, it's not like you and I, if we have a job and our boss says, and now can you answer the phones?
Right.
And now can you take out the trash? And now can you clean the bathrooms? You may not want to do it, right? Because it's the other duties as assigned, right? Like, I don't want to do it. But with a physician, every single thing has to be contracted out.
Mhm.
So that's the thing that I think people get confused. Well, my medical director is also going to be doing exams. Okay, that's a separate agreement.
Okay.
That's not the same. If you want to have a medical director and you want a nurse practitioner, because a nurse practitioner can do good faith exams, okay, then that medical director or some other physician is going to be that nurse practitioner's collaborating physician. Okay, so you're not going to have one big catch all document, which is what a lot of people think, that we can just have this one big document that is going to describe all the things that Dr. Skittles is doing. No, ma'am, no, sir. Dr. Skittles medical director agreement. Dr. Skittles is going to have a collaborating agreement and for a nurse practitioner. And all of these are going to be through the medical spa.
Mhm.
So the medical spa is going to have an agreement with Dr. Skittles to be the collaborating physician for this nurse practitioner. And then the medical spa is going to have an agreement with Dr. Skittles to be the medical director. And then the medical spa is going to have an agreement with Nurse Nancy to be its nurse practitioner.
Mm.
That's how that works.
Wow.
Okay. So in any configuration, you need a minimum of 4 agreements,
Okay.
minimum,
Okay.
right? And so then if you have a nurse practitioner and an RN, you still have to have the collaborating physician. You still have to have the nurse practitioner services. You still have to have a medical director. And now, because you want to add a nurse to it, a nurse can report up to a nurse practitioner. So then you're still going to have a med spa agreement with an RN as an independent contractor.
Wow. So
It's a
what's
lot of
listening?
hopscotching. That's what I call it.
It sounded like it.
Like
Oh, hey, listen, shout out to the
leapfrogging.
reference. Shout out to your Avon reference. I haven't heard Avon in a while. That was
Man,
class.
that just told my age. That's all that was.
That took me back.
That just told me Avon calling.
I used to remember the Avon lady color. That was great.
That just shows how old I am.
So for listeners who are either med spa owners or medical professionals considering that role of a medical director, what is your top legal advice before entering into one of those agreements?
I would say make sure that the flat fee is not exorbitant. If your flat fee for being a medical director is over 1,000, that's a ooh, look at here. That's a flag.
You actually
That's
have a red flag? Why did you should have started with that. You got red flags on deck?
red flags. This is the red flag podcast. I have red flags. All the flags.
I
All
didn't
the
know you
flags.
had red flags.
Of course I do. Of course. Red flags. Okay? If your medical director agreement is more than 1,000, if they're like, we'll pay you $5,000 to be our medical director, and the language is vague, because what's going to happen is that, again, going back to those audits, going back to the state coming in and saying, what y'all doing up in here, right? And they're going to look at all your contracts. Really? 5,000 for a medical director. Okay, this sounds like a kickback. Now you're on the defensive to prove that it is not a kickback.
Wow.
You have to prove that you're in a safe harbor, right? Good luck. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but if you paying 10,000 for a medical director,
wow,
you only working 20 hours a week, maybe.
So what's a good number though? What's a good number for
I'd
medical?
say anywhere from 500 to 1,000. If
Okay.
we're gonna go over 1,000, if we're thinking 1,200, Elissa, it really has to be 1,200. Okay, but you gonna do $1,200 worth of stuff.
Okay.
It can't be vague. If the normal list, okay, is 10, and you want to pay this medical director 1,200, then we're gonna have to add a lot more to make it just. We have to justify it.
Wow.
I'm mad you didn't know I had red flags.
I did. When I was reading the intro, I was like, she needs to have some red flags on deck.
And I did.
Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
And thank you all for joining us for Red Flags with Elissa Brewster. You can find her with www.brewsterlawtexas.com. That's brewsterlawtx.com. Please like, subscribe, and leave a review for all this important information. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.